Good morning, everyone, and welcome back. This is our second year of ChesCo Gridiron Insiders. I'm EJ Moyer. We have the privilege to be joined by Mike Milano, ex-Downingtown West and Hall of Fame coach. We have Tom Wolf. Tom Wolf, as you know from last year, ex-offensive coordinator at Downingtown East, and also second place winner when it came to predictions last year to, of course, myself. All right, no one needs to introduce the famous Pete DiGiovanni, your sports page and really the face of knowledge about ChesCo football throughout the years. And then Nate is going to join us actually live in studio as opposed to always coming in and giving us his thoughts and predictions about the teams. So we're going to start today with the Southern Division. The Southern Division is made up of Avon Grove, Kennett, Unionville, the Sun Valley's also in it, and Oxford, right? I couldn't forget Oxford, right? So let's get started. Pete, let's have a discussion about Avon Grove. Let's talk about the team they have coming back and what we look forward to with Avon Grove.
Avon Grove had a disappointing year last year, EJ, but he's cause for optimism. He's bringing back 5 offensive starters and 7 on the defensive side of the ball. And what head coach Joe Coffey told me was that the strength of the team, he feels, is the accountability within the team, that they're holding each other accountable. He says it's been an excellent work ethic and the biggest numbers they've ever had in the weight room. Defensively, he has his whole secondary back. He's excited about a couple kids on the defense, Grayson Pittman and Gavin Smith, and they're very competitive team. Quarterback is a little bit up in the air. He's got 2 kids in the mix, Nate Mater, who played last year, and a kid named Nick Walgreen. They're competing for the job. And, they're going to be a force in the South, I think.
No, I agree. I talked to Coach Coffey myself. I'll tell you what, I think the South is one of the toughest divisions, definitely to predict, with Unionville, Oxford, and Avon Grove, and then obviously Sun Valley, and then Kennett. I mean, we'll get to that when we get to Tom. But I know Coach Coffey's really excited, really about the numbers, the weight room, the team, the new field. There's so much to be excited about with Avon Grove football. Let's just see what they're going to do. The schedule is pretty much the same as last year.
Yeah, he opens up with Warwick again.
Yes. So I know that was a really good game last year. It should be a good game again. It's things I think are on the rise for Avon Grove football. Coach Coffey.
Yeah, let's hope so. Coach Coffey's a good man, and he really feels like the numbers and the attitude has changed at Avon Grove.
Okay. Let's move on.
Okay.
Tom?
So I had the pleasure of speaking with Coach Lance Frazier from Kennett High School a couple weeks ago. And Coach Frazier, been around for a little while now down at Kennett. He's very excited about his team this year. He's got a lot of skill guys coming back. His quarterback, Garrett McCracken, is a third-year starter. He's only a junior. He got thrown in the fire as a freshman a few years ago. And Coach Frazier's very excited about having him back. Says that McCracken has a great grasp of the offense, has kind of taken that leap. You don't get a lot of 3-year starters in the high school, and he's still got another year to go. So it's going to be fun watching him develop. Offensive skill-wise, he has experience. He says that's the strongest part of his offense. He's got returners in Alex Carboll, who's a junior, Gavin Ridge, Matt Reidenberg, Brian Doherty, and Aaron Hunter are all going to be handling the ball in Coach Frazier's offense, which he describes as a spread smash mouth offense. And Coach Milano played against him a few times. They're kind of hard to prepare for because they do spread you out, but Coach Frazier, he wants to run the ball. So,
how are their numbers, Coach?
The numbers are pretty good. He's he's got 40 or 50 guys on his roster. He's going to have to go both ways. Offensive line is basically the defensive line. That's one of his concerns. He only has one returning starter in Zane James. but he mentioned a couple guys, Ryan Falco and Andrew Ramirez, are a couple juniors that have significant playing experience last year, and he's really anxious to get into it. His schedule is interesting. He's got Unionville, which is their big rival. He's looking forward to Oxford, and Phoenixville is a game he's also circled on his schedule. He said they've been pretty competitive the last couple of years. So he's looking for the players to step up, adjust to the scheme, and Coach Frazier ended the season real strong last year. I think he won their last 4 or 5 games in a row, and he's looking to build on that for next year.
Okay.
Nate, do you have any stats just from last year? I know Kennett and they were kind of used to playing a little bit shorthanded last year. Weren't they started out the year kind of decimated with injuries, right?
And his guys came back, they got better, and
finished really strong.
They really ended the season on a high note.
Yeah, I think they were 1-3 to start the year. They came back, beat Unionville, and ended up, winning the division, which is obviously a big deal for them. Anytime they get a win over Unionville is a big deal down there at the Mushroom Battle. But obviously McCracken, like you said, his freshman year kind of thrown to the fire. 2 touchdowns and 9 interceptions last year. 7 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. So he's definitely trending the right way. Obviously they lost some serious leadership with a couple guys out of there, but Geyer, obviously Ian Geyer, a really good player for them last year. But like you said, Gavin Rich is a really good defensive back, and they have a really good kicker, maybe one of the best kickers in the area, Shea Barker.
Yeah.
His brother kicks at Penn State, so he's on his way to a Division I school as well. So the thing about them, they never have a lot of numbers on the sidelines, but they definitely compete well under Coach Frazier. So.
We missed a little bit. Can you give us what's returning on Avon Grove from a stat standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, Sebastro, obviously he had 600 yards rushing last year, 6 touchdowns. Dylan LaPapa, 26 catches, 343 yards. So they got a couple kids that they can put the ball in their hands and make some plays down there. And that's obviously big for Avon Grove with a new quarterback this year. So.
Yeah, no, Kennett, I think is going to be really tough to get ready for. Hopefully they can stay a little bit healthier in the beginning of the year.
If he has the right kid at quarterback, they're a beast.
Yeah, I agree.
As is most teams, I would assume. Yeah.
We love returning
Because
starters,
quarterback
that's for
run
sure.
game with that spread power stuff, and it's tough.
Oxford or Unionville?
Why don't we let introduce Coach Milano?
You got
and
it.
Let him do some talking.
Sure. Hey, so Oxford, one of my favorite coaches, Coach Means down at Oxford. He and I have we've connected many times to talk ball. He's a great coach. I think we said his 9th year coming in here, and he says his strength and experience of his offensive of both of his lines, the physicality, he thinks is going to be the strength of the team. And I know from coaching, breaking in a new quarterback, as he's talking about here, is always tough, right? A little bit iffy, hoping the kids hold up and things go the right way. But he has some new skill guys as well, and expecting to lean on that experienced group up front as he goes through. His kids he's expecting a lot from this year. Joel McLean, you guys all know about him. I'm learning about some of these guys. I didn't follow so closely last year, but he's a 3-year starter, all league on both sides of the ball. And he says Liam Bell is his leader up front on both sides, and also a 3-year starter. And those kids getting some recruiting interest, which was pretty cool to hear. Joel McLean, Jalen McLean, Liam Bell, Jace McKinney, Aiden Edison, Gabe Duggan. He was excited to hear that those guys are, wanting to play and getting some recruiting interest as well. He talks about, I always love the matchups. I'm not so aware of some of the matchups down at that end of the county sometimes, but Mike says all his league games are key games, but his rivalry games are Avon Grove, and that's the one he always has circled on the calendar down there. And then, I always hated this as a coach. Who do you expect? Who do you expect to contend, and who's the tough teams? And he immediately went to Unionville with a great group of skill guys back, and then mentioned Kennett's always really well coached, as we just talked about, and tough. And he has to mention his arch rival here, Avon Grove. He says they have numbers back and they're really deep, he felt like. So he's excited about his upcoming season, as he always is. He's upbeat, positive. If Oxford could win just on base the way the head coaches work, then they'd be at the top of the heap every year. I know Mike works really hard, and he's awesome with those kids.
Coach, I know that Liam Bell kid is very underrated, probably because he doesn't get a lot of press being down at Oxford, but like you said, he's a 3-year starter, and he moves people on the offensive line. Yeah, he's a very good player.
That anytime we had highlights last year, it seems like it was the McLean show, offense and defense.
Well,
Get the ball in his hands, and he'll make something happen.
Yeah.
And I think the quarterback last year, Nate, he was really made the offense go. It was a really centered, a running centric. And I don't think, in talking to Coach Means, as I talked to him with Coach Milano, the offense will be slightly different this year. It's not going to be as run-based. Probably be more of, reads and things of that nature. RPO stuff, yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting because you think of Oxford, you think of those quick short passes and just getting the ball in space and hoping those receivers can kind of make plays. But yeah, like you said, McLean, 1,000-yard rusher last year. You look at some of the team stats. They ran the ball really well. They played much better defense they have in years past. So obviously, if they can get that physicality to kind of stick around, they have a shot in this division. Without a real superstar team, I think. So, yeah, I mean, if they can be physical, like you said, there's two big boys up front, and then McLean, both McLean brothers, making plays on the offense. I mean, yeah, I think there's reason for some excitement down there.
When you can be physical, you can compete, right? So if he's got that group up front on both sides, they're going to be something to be dealt with.
Yeah, I definitely think so as well. We want to move on to Unionville.
Well, you speak about physical, and when I talked to Coach Tim Murphy down there. He's got 4 out of 5 starters returning on his offensive line. Towards the end of the year, he averaged 200 yards rushing per game. Guys, Reed Cassidy, Jack Gillespie, Cade Brooks have a lot of game experience, and he says that that's his big three. When you hear the big three, you usually talk about receivers and quarterbacks. He says that's the heartbeat of his team, is his offensive line. He's real excited about having those guys back, and they're the leaders of his offense. Coach Murphy also has Tommy McGinnis back, returning quarterback, left-hander, dual threat kid. Got hurt a little bit last year, but when he was on the field, he made plays for him. And real good, as we all said, it's always great to have a returning quarterback. His offensive skill guys, Drew Polio, returning wideout, averaged 30 yards per catch, according to Coach Murphy last year. And probably one of the most all-purpose, all-around athletes in the entire Chester County area. Brendan McLaughlin is back, workhorse back, played linebacker, filled in at the Wildcat quarterback when McGinnis was out. So they're real excited down in Unionville. Coach Murphy calls the plays on offense, and again, they're going to focus on the run game, which when you think about Unionville, that's all the way back to your days, Coach. I mean, they run the ball. They like to run the ball. Craig Mann is the defensive coordinator. He told me that they're going to change to an odd front this year because they have a lot of depth at linebacker. They've got the Cassidy kid we talked about, Shane Gilday, Will Shriver, Charlie Williams, and Nick Rochus all saw time at linebacker last year. So because of that depth at linebacker, they're going to move to an odd front and play a lot of guys standing up at that linebacker position. His theme this year, when he met with the seniors, what he really liked about that theme is never be satisfied. They had a tough start to the year with Ruston, lost to Kennett later on, made the playoffs, but he wants to get more than into the first week of the playoffs, and that's what his team wants. Talking to him about his schedule, he highlighted opening game against Ruston, which I think we're going to feature, and we'll talk about Ruston in another segment. Obviously, the backyard mushroom battle against Kennett's a big game for him, as always. And they know us, we know them, played youth ball together, one game at a time is his motto. So, looking for big things from Unionville with their returning starters.
Yeah, I think you mentioned McLaughlin, the running back. I mean, he's probably the happiest person you'll find on that team to know that there's 4 linemen coming back. He's going to be a 4-year contributor. He played a lot as a freshman. First couple of years, just some tough sledding. Some of those lines weren't as strong as they had been in the past for Unionville. Last year broke out, 1,200 yards, 14 touchdowns on the ground. A threat from out of the backfield too. He had 13 catches for 300 yards and 4 more touchdowns. So even played quarterback when McGinnis was down, doing a lot of wildcat. But he's obviously a really good weapon down there in the South. And we saw how much McGinnis meant to them last year. Hurt in the Avon Grove game, missed the Kennett game. Kennett beats them for the league title or the division title. But McGinnis kind of really showed up last year. Became a deep ball threat. Him and Paleo were probably one of the better deep ball combinations in the area. Just that play action pass that they can run off the run there. So yeah, I expect them to be. I think maybe the favorites in that division just because of some of the skill kids they have back and some of the beef they have up front. So and track record too.
Let's get to that now, I guess. We don't cover the Sun Valley team, which is the 5th team in that division. So let's start taking a look at predictions. We know when it comes to Unionville, we don't need you to remember this, but Unionville will be, as Tom mentioned, our week 0. That'll be our game of the week, our ChesCo Gridiron game of the week. Unionville will also show up again as the game of the week, week 5. It's a big South game, Oxford at Unionville. So those will be the 2 main featured games that Unionville will be on. Let's start with Coach Milano.
Sure, put me on the hot seat.
Who do you like?
Yeah. I see
New
how
guy,
it
let's get
goes.
the new
I
guy
see how
in.
it goes. Hey, that's tough. I mean, I coached at Unionville. I'd love to say Unionville. I coached down in Avon Grove is awesome. Coach Means is a good friend. I know how well coached Kennett is always going to be. Based on what I'm seeing here, I guess sounds like Unionville's got both up front and some skill kids. So I'm going to throw a dart at Unionville.
Yeah, I kind of implied that, I guess, with my last statement. But yeah, I think Unionville just maybe the best, one of the better quarterbacks in that division between him and McCracken. And obviously, a top running back and some serious beef up front. So I'd like Unionville to win this division this year.
Okay. Pete?
I like Unionville too. I'm going to make it 3. I think they're going to get pushed by Oxford. I'm really excited about Oxford's physicality, what Coach Means he's doing down there. But I think just Unionville just has too much coming back, and the McLaughlin kid's going to be the difference. I like Unionville to win it.
Make it 4 for 4. I think Kennett's going to be right there at the end. I think Oxford's going to be there at the end. But I'm going to give the nod to the experience with 4 returning linemen. I think all three of those games, or those 3 teams in those games they play each other, are going to be tight and well contested. But I'm going to give Unionville slight nod over Kennett and Oxford.
So I think it's going to come down also to the Kennett Unionville game. Where was that game last year?
It's at Unionville.
Is that Unionville?
So this year it's at Kennett.
That's a long bus ride.
That is correct. It seems to me also, I think it's a 3. I think it's going to be Oxford. I think it's going to be Unionville. And I think it's going to be Kennett. And I think all the teams are going to beat each other up. The thing I worry about sometimes, like we said with Unionville, is, and you can't predict this, right, because obviously Kennett had it too, but something tells me an injury is going to play a huge key here somewhere, and somebody's going to be missing a big game. So I like Unionville as well. However, I'm going to go with Kennett.
Okay.
All right, so there we go. All right, that is our preview of the South Division. You'll be hearing about some more South guys on our last preview edition, which when we'll actually do some preseason, hand out some preseason ChesCo hardware. That'll be a new segment for us. So that'll be the South show. We'll be coming right back at you again, okay, when we preview the Central. All right, stay tuned.